Hi everyone, welcome to today's lunchtime flow. I hope you're all doing well this Monday lunchtime. As always with these classes, if you do have any injuries or anything specific that you're working with, please be careful. If something hurts, back off, take it easy. If you need to listen to your body, let your body be your teacher as well. These classes are always donation based. There's my PayPal link at the side of the screen, so if you're able to, please do donate. Otherwise, let's get started. We're going to start in a seated position. If you do have a yoga block, grabbing that now. If not, maybe a cushion or a rolled up blanket will work. And you can either be kneeling, it might feel nice to sit up on a cushion like that, or cross-legged might work better. So just finding a comfortable seat in any way that works for you, that relaxes the lower body. Try and have the knees lower than the hips and let your hands rest wherever they comfortably go. So just let them rest on your lap, on your thighs, wherever works. And we're going to start off today by closing down the eyes and just taking a few big sighs. So a nice big inhale through the nose. Open the mouth and just let it go. Do that once more. Straight away, just dropping into your practice, letting go of any thoughts that you might not need right now, that might not be serving you right now. And a great way to start clearing the mind is by focusing on your breath. So in and out through the nose. Just start to bring your awareness to where in your body you are feeling this breath going. It might be the first time today that you've really thought about your breath. And to begin with, you might notice that your breath is mostly coming into your chest, but see if you can start to deepen it and really send your breath all the way down towards your diaphragm. And as you do this, you might notice that you get a little bit more of an expansion through the stomach. Allow your breath to be the main focus of your mind now and maybe for the next 45 minutes. And as we sit here with this rhythm that we've created with this full body breath, just take a little gentle body scan, nothing too serious, nothing too specific. Just running your awareness over your physical body, noticing how you're feeling today. Don't worry if no thoughts or no sensations come to your mind. If you're registering a bit of a blank for now, that's fine. But just see if you can tell if there's tension, space, lightness, heaviness. What's going on for you today? Options to keep your eyes closed as we start introducing a little bit of gentle movement. So starting by letting your head hang heavy, so bring your chin down towards your chest. Moving in whichever direction feels good for you, we're going to start taking some big rotations with the head. So letting the ear come towards the shoulder and rolling the head backwards, over towards the other shoulder. And then back through center. Keep moving like this, taking these nice big mindful circles with the head. Try and keep the shoulders nice and still as you do this. And just checking in. Maybe you're finding some spots that feel particularly tight or tender. And if you do, maybe you just pause there and breathe into it. Maybe there's a bit of clicking or cracking going on, and know that that is a great thing. And nice and slowly completing whatever movement you're on, and then just gently changing directions, going all the way the other way. And maybe one direction feels a lot easier or a lot more challenging than the other. Maybe this movement is just really what you need right now to just drop into focusing on your body. And we will just complete whatever rotation, whatever movement you are on. And really slowly, just lifting your head all the way back up to center. You can keep your eyes closed for a little bit longer if that feels good. We are going to be working a little bit on eyes open and eyes closed today. But what we're going to do now is sit up nice and tall, lift the crown of the head, and then bring your gaze, or if your eyes are closed, keep them closed, turning your head all the way towards your right. You might just look over the right shoulder, or you might look so much towards the right that you can see a little bit behind you as well. Check in with your breath here. So we're just looking at the mobility of our neck. We spend a lot of time looking down towards screens, not really looking after our neck too well. So just giving a little bit of attention here today. Let's come back through center and then all the way the other direction. So again, maybe it's just towards your left shoulder, or maybe you have the space to go slightly behind your left shoulder. And then we'll come back through center. If the eyes were still closed or are still closed, gently opening them back up. Welcome to your practice if they were still closed. We're going to come onto all fours, tabletop. So removing anything that you were sitting on. Hands come below the shoulders. Knees are hip width apart. We're going to reach our right arm up towards the ceiling. Find an opening through the chest. And then thread that arm through, come down onto your right shoulder and your right cheek. Options here to keep the left fingertips close to the face, or walk the left fingertips towards the top of your mat. Try not to stick your bum out here, so it's quite tempting to sink into the lower back. Rather think about this, focusing this stretch on the shoulders, the upper back. If you're not sure how to do that, a gentle tuck of the tailbone or a gentle hug in of the core muscles will do that for you. Let's come back through center, tabletop. And do that on the other side. So when you're ready, reach that left arm up, opening through the chest. And then thread your left arm through, come down onto your shoulder and your left cheek. Again, choose if you like having your left fingertips close to your face or all the way towards the top of your mat. Nice and gently coming back to that tabletop position. Spread your fingers nice and wide and press down each fingertip and each knuckle pad. I'm going to warm up the wrist a little bit from here. So let's start taking some nice big rotations around the wrists. As you do this, you might want to make the movement quite over the top, quite big. So really leaning forwards, really leaning to the side, and then maybe even bring your seat bones all the way back towards your heels. So not worrying about what this looks like or if it feels a little bit bitty or imbalanced, just making these movements really exaggerated, getting the hips involved too, maybe the shoulders involved too. Keep pressing the fingertips down, the thumbs down. Let's change direction, so going all the way the other way. And just imagining your body in water here, and it's just flowing in a really smooth, gentle way that just starts to wake things up. Let's come to stillness, left fingertips towards the left, right fingertips towards the right. And a gentle sway from side to side. As you do this, try not to let the heel of the wrist lift up. So just going into it as much as you can without that wrist lifting. Come to stillness, walk your left fingertips, so we're twisting all the way around. Left fingertips come towards left knee, right fingertips come towards right knee. Maybe this feels quite intense and you want to stay in stillness. That's absolutely fine. Maybe you take a little rock backwards and forwards here. Again, really important that you try and keep the heel of the wrist on the floor as we start stretching through the wrists and the forearms. Parts of the body that we use quite a lot in our yoga practice. Great, well done. Last one like that. And then we're going to release and sit back on your heels, but as you move back, tuck the toes under, coming into a little toe stand. So starting to move our attention to the back line of the body. If, like me, you've got tiny toes and need to use your hands to help get the toes involved, by all means do. If the wrists are feeling that stretch, you might want to just shake them out, take your focus away from the soles of the feet. If you do find this toe pose quite intense, especially if you're newer to yoga or newer to this sort of practice, you might want to place a cushion either underneath your knees or in between your heels and your seat bones. Whatever you have going on here, really try and focus on your breath. And this is a great one for pretty much anyone. And you might notice that at the moment, spending a little bit more time at home, you're not wearing shoes as often, and that's so wonderful for our feet. But this is still a great thing to be doing. Really spreading the toes, stretching out the fascia tissue along the soles of the feet that's connected all the way up the back line of the body. So if you know you're quite tight in the hamstrings, you might feel this pose a little bit more than others. We're going to be here for a little bit longer. Know that if at any point you need a break, just lean forwards, rest it out. Check that the tension from the soles of the feet isn't spreading anywhere else in the body. Last few deep, deep breaths here. And let's release, come back onto your tabletop position and just tap out the tops of the feet. Give them a little bit of a reverse sensation. Maybe rotate the ankles a couple of times. And let's walk our hands forwards. Drop the forehead down towards the floor, puppy dog pose. Try and keep the hips on top of the knees here, so in line with the knees. And you can either have your forehead on the floor or you can lift so your chin is on the floor. That will deepen the sensation through the shoulders. Again, never trying to stick out the bum here. So it's really tempting to do that because it feels like you're going into the pose a little bit more deeply. But gentle tug of the tailbone, make this stretch all about the shoulders. From here, bring your gaze forward, so maybe gently lift their head, keeping the forearms and palms flat on the floor. We're going to roll ourselves forwards into a forearm plank. So, starting to light the body up, press the earth away. Think about what is engaged here. So, muscles in the legs are pulling in towards the bones. The core, the tummy button, think about pulling it in towards the spine. And then the forearms press. You can either keep the hands sort of parallel to each other. If that doesn't work for your shoulders, you can have the hands sort of closer together. From here, bring the big toes to touch. We're going to spin into a forearm side plank. Right hand down, left arm lifts. Know that at any point here, you can drop that lower knee and give yourself a little bit of extra support. We're going to get straight into the core from here. Left hand to left ear around there. And we're going to just tap the floor with our left elbow. Lift back up. We're going to do 4 more of those. So tapping the floor with the elbow. Lift back up 3 more times. Tapping the floor. Lift back up. Press that forearm into the floor. And again, forearm down. Lift up. 1 more forearm taps. Elbow taps even, coming back up. And then drop that left forearm onto the floor. You're back in your forearm plank. If you need to, take a couple of breaths in your child's pose here. But if you're feeling ready for a little bit of fire today, stay on those forearms. Keep breathing. Notice what's going on with your Ujjayi breath. Have you lost control of it? Feeling that heat build up, especially in the shoulders, maybe in the core. If you're in your child's pose, come back up and meet us. Big toes to touch. Spin over, forearm side plank. Left arm down. Right arm lifts. Find your balance. Squeeze everything in. Right hand comes towards right ear. And again, we're going to go for those elbow taps. So tapping the floor. Lifting up. Nice and controlled. Don't worry if you wobble. I am too. Let's go. 4 more. Lifting up. 3 more. Tap the floor. Lift back up. 2 more. Tapping the floor. Lift back up. Last one. Do it with control. Tap the floor. Lift back up nice and slowly. Drop your right forearm to the floor. Back in this forearm plank. Let's stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everyone drop onto your knees and have your knees touching, so your shins touching. We're going to drop into a sort of closed child's pose from here. So forehead comes down. You might want to have your arms out in front of you, or it might feel nice to reach back towards the toes. Especially if your shoulders are already feeling the practice a little bit, it might feel really nice to let them round down towards the floor here. Notice how the body feels as you start warming it up. And then from here, when you're ready, if you need a little bit longer in your child's pose, go ahead and take it. Otherwise, let's find a downward facing dog. So maybe this is your first down dog of the day, of the week, of the month, even as we step into a new month today. So really feel your way into your down dog. Check in with the foundation, so your hands and your feet. If the hamstrings are feeling tight, take a bend in the knees, really tilt the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Notice where your gaze is. So it should be somewhere in between the shins towards the back of the mat. Bring your big toes to touch once more. Lift the right leg up towards the ceiling. Bend your right knee open through the hips. So really try and keep the shoulders square here. It's tempting to sink into that left shoulder, but try and keep them strong. See how close you can bring your right heel to your seat bones. Just breathing as you sort of yawn your body open here. And gently place that right foot back on the floor. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Take a ragdoll at the back of your mat. Opposite hand comes to opposite elbow. Feet can be hip width apart, mat width apart, whatever works for you. Let the head just hang heavy. Maybe a little bounce, a little sway, maybe quite a bend in the knees. Gently release the hands down towards the floor. Walk your hands all the way back to the top of your mat. Find your downward facing dog. Hips are nice and high. Feet to touch. Let's do that on the left. Lift your left leg all the way up towards the sky and then open through the hips. How high can you lift your left knee? Again, shoulders are square. Think about pressing the hands down and forwards. And gently place that left foot down. This time walk your feet to your hands. So now you're at the top of the mat. Interlace your fingers at your sacrum and reach your hands towards your head, towards the top of the mat. Head hangs heavy. Again, maybe your knees are bent here. Make this all about the shoulders, the upper body. We're going to let go of our hands, but don't let them ping apart. So gently just release them. And slowly roll your spine all the way up to standing. Have your head as the last thing to lift. Let's reach our arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Big, big stretch. And exhale as you fold forwards. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Reach the crown of the head and the rib cage forwards here. Step it back, high plank. Drop your knees, untuck your toes. Moving slowly, come all the way down onto the floor. Peel your chest open, baby cobra. Press the tops of the feet down. Draw the elbows in. Push back through your knees. Bring your seat bones to your heels. And then straighten your legs downward facing dog. Full breath in. Exhale it all out. One more in breath. And this time as you exhale, walk, step, or float to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold forwards. Inhale, we rise tall. Exhale to fold forwards. Flat back on the inhale. Step it back, high to low plank. If you want to continue dropping the knees, by all means do. Inhale, it's another cobra or up dog. Open the chest, squeeze the glutes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Allow your breath to guide your movement. So you're listening to my voice, but you're also allowing the breath to completely lengthen each pose, each transition. Soften knees, gaze in between your hands as lightly, as softly as you can. Jump to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold forwards. Inhale, we rise. Exhale to fold. Halfway lift on the inhale. This time step or maybe float back to your low plank. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. So options to float back. If you want to float back, make sure you land with bent elbows in your low plank rather than floating back to your high plank. Full breath in. As you exhale, soften knees, gaze forwards, jump to your hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Bring your big toes to touch, bend your knees, chair pose, sit your hips nice and low. And it's quite tempting in your chair pose to, again, stick the bum out and reach the chest forwards. Try not to do that. Try and keep guiding the tailbone down towards the floor and shoulders stacked on top of the hips as much as possible. Sink the hips a little bit lower. Feel that heat start building in the body. Breathe in. Breathe out, fold. Flat back. High to low plank. Maybe you shoot back. You choose. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forwards, crescent lunge. So we're keeping the back heel lifted as we rise up. Taking just a moment here to find your balance. If you're feeling wobbly today, maybe walk that right foot further towards the right. Hands come together at heart center. Inhale, we lengthen the chest. Exhale, we twist towards our right. Opening as much as you can here. Come back to center, crescent. Start to shift your weight into that front foot. Warrior three, reach that back heel backwards. If you have space, have hands out in front of you. If not, fingertips back. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Start to bend your right knee. Softly place the left toes back. Back in your crescent lunge. Full breath in. Exhale, flow, high to low plank. Up dog. Down dog. Left foot steps forwards, crescent lunge. Back heel is lifted. Again, just feeling your way into your lunge today. How long can you go into it? How much can you squeeze the feet down and towards each other? Hands come together, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist to your left. Think about reaching the back of that right knee up towards the ceiling so you're strong through that back leg. Come back to center, crescent lunge. Lean the body weight forwards and just let that back foot float off the floor. Reach the right heel back. Fingers are forwards if you can, backwards if you have no space. Bend the left knee, softly place the right toe back, crescent lunge. Breathe in. On your exhale, flow through your vinyasa, high to low plank. Inhale is an up dog or it's a cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a couple of deep breaths here in your down dog. If you need to sigh or take a child's pose at any point, please feel free. Soften your knees. Maybe take a little bounce in the knees. Gaze is forwards, as lightly, almost as if in slow motion. You're just going to float towards your hands. Flat back. Fold. Big toes touching. Chair pose. Just one breath this time. Sink as low as you can. Fold forwards. Halfway lift. Step or maybe float back to your low plank. Up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forwards, crescent lunge. Inhale to rise. Exhale, we twist straight towards our right. Inhale, we're coming back to our center. And then start to lean forwards once more. Find your warrior three. Again, hands forwards or backwards if you prefer. Hold it here. Squeeze that right thigh. Bend the right knee. Softly place the left toes back. Arms lift. From here, this time we're going to shift our weight into our front foot. Come into eagle pose. Left leg over. Left arm comes under. Sink the hips nice and low here. Options, stay exactly where you are, or start to round through the spine and let the elbows just touch the knees. Once the elbows have touched the knees or got as close to them as possible, slowly lift back up. From here, unravel, step that left foot back, crescent lunge. Breathe in, breathe out, flow, high to low plank. Up dog, downward facing dog. Left foot forward, crescent lunge, rise up on the inhale. Bring your hands together, let's twist straight towards the left. Make the most of this twist, press the elbow and thighs together. Come back to center, crescent lunge. We start to shift forwards, let the back leg lift, warrior three, keep those right toes flexed. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Start to bend through the left knee, softly place those right toes back, crescent lunge. Eagle pose, right leg wraps over the left, right arm wraps under the left. Sink the hips as low as you can. Again, choose if you stay where you are, or start to round. Bring the elbows towards the knees. If you manage to get there, or get as close as you can, slowly lift back up. From here, as if in slow motion, unravel. Find your crescent lunge. Breathe in, breathe out, we flow, high to low plank, or skip it out if you want to. Don't feel you always have to take the vinyasa. If you want to go straight to down dog, by all means do. Take a few deep breaths here in or down dog. Allow everything to just soften back down. Gaze comes forward, walk, step, or float to your hands. With soft knees, rolling the spine up as slowly as you can, come up to standing. So take it slow, have that head as the last thing to lift. And we'll find our way into our Tadasana, mountain pose. Feet are hip width apart, arms alongside your body, palms facing forwards. If it's comfortable here, close the eyes. If not, take a soft gaze towards the floor in front of you. And just run your awareness from your feet. So let's lift our 10 toes. Feel the four corners of your feet press down. Work your awareness up your body. Engage muscles in the legs, pull up on your kneecaps. And try and have a neutral pelvis here. So you're not tilting one way or the other, you're just allowing the tailbone to sort of gently reach down towards the floor. Keep the fingers sparked alive, spreading wide. Shoulder blades sink down the spine. And you try and stand as tall as you can here. So we call this our mountain pose, Tadasana. And it has a wonderful grounding effect on our body. Tune back into your breath here, especially if you've lost it when we come into our power yoga practice or our dynamic vinyasa practice. We get a bit wobbly, fall all over the place. But just go with the flow. And then take this moment here to have some stillness. From here, options to keep your eyes closed if you would like to. It adds a little extra challenge. We're going to step into our tree pose. So if you're keeping your eyes closed or not, go ahead, lift that right foot. Either place the sole of the right foot to the inside of the calf or the thigh. Take your time. Notice how weird it is, how challenging it is to look for that right foot without opening your eyes. If you can, bring your hands together at heart center. Keep a softness in the face. Even if you are wobbling and falling and making strange shapes. And if you do fall all the way out of the pose, see if you can come back in with your eyes still closed. Find some softness here. If you want to, maybe open your arms, reach them up towards the ceiling. The eyes are still closed. And try not to take it too seriously. If you find yourself getting frustrated, just know that it's only yoga, it's only Monday lunchtime, there's nothing to get cross about here. Soften whatever you can. Keeping the eyes closed if you want to. We're going to step back through our Tadasana, so feet are hip width apart, hands alongside the body. Taking a moment here to enjoy both feet grounding down at the same level. When you are ready, let's go tree on the left. Maybe the eyes stay closed throughout the whole part of this class. Maybe you keep your eyes closed for the rest of the class. Choose if you bring the sole of the foot to the inside of the calf or the thigh. Remember to breathe. Hands come together at heart center. Maybe you stay like this. Maybe you grow your tree open out. Maybe one side was a lot easier or a lot more challenging than the other, and no, that's completely normal. Just remembering to breathe whatever is going on. And let's release both feet to the floor. By all means, if you like the eyes closed, stay with it. Otherwise, you're opening your eyes. If you shifted away from the top of your mat, step back to the top of your mat. Let's inhale, reach the arms up nice and tall. Maybe look up. Maybe a small back bend here. Exhale, we fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step it back into your high plank. Pausing here. We're going to lower down to our Chaturanga slowly. If you want to, drop your knees from here. If you're staying with them lifted or with them down, we're going to shift our shoulders over our wrists here slightly. So you're right on the tips of the toes. And as I count down from 3, you're going to bend your elbows halfway down. Let's go for it for 3. Keep the elbows close to the body for 2. Keep breathing for 1. You should be in your low plank. Hold it here for 3, for 2, for 1. Upward facing dog. Open the chest. Enjoy the up dog. Squeeze the armpits here and lift the crown of the head a little bit high. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. So coming into a sort of lizard lunge from here. You might want to shuffle that back foot a little bit further back. If you get any compression or any sensation up in that hip flexor area, so that bit in between your sort of hip bone and your thigh, walk your right foot further out towards the right. Maybe even point the toes out towards the right or come onto the baby toe edge of that right foot. You can either stay up on your hands. If you want more here, you can come all the way down onto your forearms. Don't worry if you try and reach for the forearms and it's just completely impossible. That's very normal. And as we stay here, just starting to get into the right glutes, the left hip flexors, it might feel nice to keep a little bit of movement. So maybe a little sway, a little rock. If you can, keep that left knee lifted, but if it is too much, you can drop the left knee down, but do your best to keep it up. We're not going to be here for too much longer. If you are down on your forearms, lift back up onto your hands. We're going to heel toe our right foot over to the left side of the mat and drop into our half pigeon. So dropping that shin onto the floor, the back leg onto the floor. If you need to cushion out that right hip, if it's far off the floor, grab your block, grab your cushion. If you want to stay upright, please do. If you want to come on your forearms or your forehead, again, listen to what your body needs right now to feel the pose, to stay in the practice. And as we start slowing things down, really tuning into your breath here. And it might be nice to visualize sending each inhalation to the part of your body, the area of your body where you're feeling this pose. And as you exhale, you're just letting go, releasing of any tension that might be building up. I'm going to give you one more option from here. If you want to stay in your half pigeon, stay exactly where you are, breathing deeply. If you want a little bit more, you're going to lift up onto your hands. So the way we came in, we're coming back out. We're going to go for our mermaid pose. If your right hip is quite high off the floor, you might want to place something under it. My block is a little bit big, so a cushion would be great. And then if you want to stay with me, you're going to bend that left knee. If this feels quite intense, just stay exactly where you are. Otherwise, you're reaching back with your left hand. Maybe you grab hold of that left foot. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you manage to get your left foot all the way into your elbow crease and are no longer holding onto the floor. Maybe you stay here. The full pose is reaching that right arm back and binding with both fingers. But if to get to the bind you find you're really tensing up the shoulders, just don't go for it. Just stay at any point along this pose that feels good. So often we are in quite a rush to get into poses, especially advanced poses, but don't get into them at the detriment of the practice. So keep your breath going, keep the softness in your body where you can. If you are bound, gently let go. We're going to release that left foot, but try not to let it ping back, so release it gently. Place your hands back on the floor. If you are still in your half pigeon, folding forwards, lifting up, and tuck the back toes. Everyone find your way to a downward facing dog. Take any shake or movement here to release the hips, the thighs, and then when you are ready, stepping that left foot to the outside of your left hand. Really let the hips sink and see if you can shuffle that back foot further back. Again, if you get any sort of compression, walk the left foot further out, maybe come onto the outer edge of that foot. And don't be surprised if on one side you had no compression and on the other side you have a lot. That is very normal. Choose if you want to stay on your hands or if you want to come onto your forearms. But as I said on the last side, it's quite a nice pose to keep a little bit of movement going, especially if you are finding this quite intense. So maybe a little rock backwards and forwards. If you feel like you can't take it anymore, maybe you do drop that back knee, but if you can, keep it lifted. And always in these poses, we want to find quite a strong sensation, but we don't want to go anywhere that causes pain or stops us from being able to breathe deeply. And again, if you are on your forearms, gently lifting up, we're going to walk our left foot towards the right side of the mat this time, dropping that shin down, drop the back knee down, getting yourself set up for your half pigeon. If you find yourself tilting over onto your left hip, pad that left hip out, give it some support. Maybe you stay upright, maybe you come onto your forearms, maybe your forehead drops all the way down to the floor. Noticing if at this point in class other thoughts are starting to pop up into your mind. And then gently guiding your mind, your focus back to the present moment. Options to stay exactly where you are, just breathe into this pose, or you're lifting up onto your hands. Again, it might be nice here to place a block or some support underneath your left hip. Maybe you start by just bending that right foot, and maybe you stay there. That's a great place to be. Maybe you twist behind and grab hold of that right foot and just stay there. Maybe you can slide that right foot all the way into your elbow crease. Maybe you reach your left arm up and over and bind. Only going into this as much or as little as you want. So don't go anywhere that causes too much tension in the shoulders. This is quite a challenging pose, and it requires quite a lot of stretching, quite a lot of mobility. So take it easy, do whatever you can do. If you have hold of that right foot, gently release it, don't let it ping backwards. Removing anything from underneath the left hip, and wherever you are, lifting up onto your hands, shift your weight onto your left hip. Swing your right leg round, both feet flat to the floor. Arms outstretched, keep your block or cushion nearby. And with control, nice and slowly, we're going to roll down onto our backs. Keep breathing as you go. Try and move as slowly as you can. Your head is the last thing to touch the mat. We're going to take a very quick inversion now. So I'm going to go for a restorative inversion, but by all means, if you want to jump up into something else, please do. If you have a block, a cushion, or a blanket, place it underneath your hips. It can be quite low down, so more towards like the edge of your sacrum, and lift your feet up. If you have no block or no cushions nearby, just lift the feet up. But it tends to be a little bit easier, a little bit more restorative when you have something underneath the hips. And we're just going to stay here for a few deep breaths, letting the feet be up high. Such a wonderful thing to do pretty much at any time of any day, but especially wonderful after a little flowy lunchtime class, getting you ready for your afternoon ahead, your week ahead. Maybe looking up towards the toes, giving them a little wiggle. Maybe rotating the ankles a couple of times. And nice and slowly releasing the pose, placing the feet back on the floor, lifting the hips, removing the block or whatever you had underneath you. Hug both knees in towards your chest and give yourself a nice big squeeze. Maybe a little rock side to side, massaging the lower back here. And then straighten your left leg out on the mat. Just keep your right knee hugged in. Let your right knee fall towards the left, coming into a spinal twist. Right arm reaches towards the right. Gaze is also towards the right. And it can sometimes feel a little bit more restrictive breathing as you twist, but do your best to keep that same intensity in your Ujjayi breath here for these final few moments of class. Allowing your breath to be the most important thing in your mind right now. Coming back through center, let's swap sides, hug the left knee in, give it a nice big squeeze. You might even shift your hips slightly towards the left, and then let that left knee fall towards the right. Left arm opens towards the left, gaze is towards the left. And bringing yourself back to center, hug both knees in once more. Lift your forehead up towards your knees. Give yourself a big, big squeeze. Make yourself as small as you can possibly be. Squeeze everything in. Take a big breath in through the nose. As you exhale out through the mouth, release your legs, release your arms. Come to lying flat on your back. Let your feet fall open, palms face the ceiling. Take up as much space as you have. Let your body feel heavy. And see if you can stay in complete stillness for your final rest, Shavasana. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth and just let it go. Bring some movement to your fingers and your toes. Reach your arms up overhead. Take a full body stretch. Roll onto your right side into a fetal position, pausing here just for a moment. And then nice and slowly lifting yourself up to a seated or kneeling position, hands together at heart center, and your eyes are closed. Taking a moment to think of something that you are grateful for right now in this moment. Allow that thought of gratitude to fill your whole being right now. And with the lightness that that thought of gratitude brings to you, lift your thumb knuckles up to your forehead center. And together we bow forwards and say, Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed class. Let me know any questions, any feedback, any requests you might have. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful Monday. I am back on this channel Thursday, same time, for another lunchtime flow. I hope to see some of you again soon. Thank you very much.